So, all right. So we are at the launch template page now. So we are going to create a template for ourselves, right? So we are going to give it a name as my project. Okay. So moving forward, so we have to choose a machine. That we want to launch as our instances. Okay. So we'll choose Amazon Linux 2023, but there are many options you could choose from, including Mac OS, Red Hat, and then there is Ubuntu, then Windows. We have there are many options. So we're gonna stick to AWS Linux. Okay, okay. Moving forward, we have to choose an instance type. So by default, when I'm gonna launch a T2 Micro, which is within the free tier, we choose that. And as you could see, the T2 Micro provides you with one CPU, 1 GB of memory, and you could see its pricing details within this box. Okay, so we're gonna choose our KeyPay login. So we have I'm gonna choose this, but in case if you don't have any new KeyPay login, so you have to click on that, create new KeyPay login, and give your KeyPay a name. So let's say dummy. Let's say dummy. So choose RSA and then let the file format be .them, right? So when you create one, so you're gonna see it's downloading you for you by default. Okay, you don't have to click download and all. It's getting downloaded. But for ourselves, we're gonna choose AWS.login. Okay, so moving forward, so you don't have to configure anything within this subnet option because we already have deployed all the subnets and um uh, all the subnets in public and private domain that we need earlier, as I've shown, right? So we are going to create a security group for ourselves. So we're going to name it as what? Um, my project, my project security group. Okay. We're going to keep it capital. My project security group. Okay. So what is it's gonna do is give it a description. It's gonna allow SSH traffic. Okay, so we choose our own cloud, make sure we do that. And while we are creating this two instances, which are auto scaled, that means they are created automatically. Okay, so what we are going to do is we're going to add some group rules into it. So we need a custom TCP for sure. We are going to run that custom TCP traffic on port 8000, right? So we should choose the source type as we are gonna accept the traffic from anywhere on the internet, right? So we're gonna also choose, we also need this SSH traffic to SSH into different systems, right? So we're gonna accept SSH traffic from all over the internet too. So choose that option. So now we are done with most of our selections. So let's go forward. So I'm just having a check once again on my configurations. So we are good to go ahead. Yeah. So hit on that launch button. So it says initializing requests. So why did it fail? Create template failed. The security group already exists. My project. Okay. 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 So I have um security group by this name too. So we're gonna edit that configurations, configuration. So what was the case? So we're gonna keep it as project ST, just like that. Okay. So create launch and wait while it is launching for us. Create a launch template. Why did it fail again? Launch template name already in use. So I create many projects, so that's why it may be creating some problem for me. But I'm gonna keep it as my project SG1. Okay, so let's try that. Let's try that. Yes, it did create a launch template for me. Now we are going to create a auto scale uh, group, right? So within this launch templates, we're gonna, so it's still is not showing, it's still not showing. So yeah, so you could see over here, so it's my project uh, security group one, right? Okay. So sorry, this should be launch template, but I've mistyped it as SG1. So pardon me for that. It should be launch template. Uh, but you could give any name you want, right? So moving forward, um, we must choose our private cloud that we created, and we should choose subnets as private. Make sure we are launching our instances into private subnet. So we are launching, okay, we're launching our resources into private subnet over here, right? So this is gonna be where we are going to be launching our uh, application, you could say, or any other web app you want to. So we would be doing it there. So we have to choose both the um yeah, we have to choose private subnets for that. Okay, so hit on okay. So we are good to go. We are good to go. Okay, so move forward. Okay, we need not create any load balancer as of now because we are going to create one in the later stages. So you could see over here, we also need an application load balancer over here. So we are gonna configure that later to our needs. Uh, so let's move forward and see. Let's see what happens, right? Okay, so the desired amount of uh, capacity that we need is two, right? As we have, I'm going to show you the architecture as we have two instances. So as we are launching the same configurations into the two availability zones, we are going to have our instance to be auto scale to the size, to the desired size of two, and maximum it can go is to the size of four. Let's keep that. So during the peak demand, so our instances are gonna scale to the our instances are gonna scale four times. That we are gonna have four public subnet and four private networks. Okay, so let's move forward. Let's move forward. So keep clicking on this. So here we can add some notifications additionally to our EC2 instances. If there's anything goes wrong, so this SNS, AWS SNS services is going to send you notifications for that. But we do not need any SNS topics to be added. So we're going to move, click next and click next again. Okay, so we have everything going good. So click on auto scaling, create auto scaling. Okay. So as you could see over here that so by this time it may be launching as instances and EC2. Let's go over there and see. So see now these. So let me. So you could see over here that there are um two instances that are being launched while we created an auto scaling group for ourselves, right? Yes, you could see that. Just wait, it's still pending, it's still pending. Let's wait while it's in running state. Yeah, our instances are back into running state. Now let us create a Bastion host. So we are creating a Bastion host into the public subnet so that all the traffic that is inbound from the outside world, we're gonna map it to the private subnet with the help of NAT gateway. Okay, let's create one Bastion subnet for ourselves. But there is one over here, but you could see it's terminated, so it's of no any use. So what actually happened was I actually recorded this video, but I don't know why that video was cut to the half of the time. So I'm creating this video once again. So we're gonna launch that Bastion host once again. Bastion host. Okay. So we're gonna choose Ubuntu over here. You could choose the same Amazon Linux machine, but this time around we're gonna choose Ubuntu. We choose Ubuntu as our desired machine. That is our Bastion host, and we're gonna choose by default it's gonna choose your T2 type micro, right? So we're gonna choose our key pair, that is AWS login. We're gonna choose that, and here now you have to configure the network setting, right? So as we know that we are gonna launch that Bastion host into the um, public subnet, right? So we are gonna launch that over here in this public domain. Okay. So moving forward, so we have to make sure this is public network. We are gonna choose it as um my project subnet public one US is 1A. Okay. Okay. So we are gonna allow an IPv4 to be assigned to our this instance, right? And everything looks fine. Everything looks fine. Okay, so we're gonna go and hit the launch instance button. Yeah, so successfully we have launched this Bastion. Um, we have launched this Bastion host as well. So let us refresh until it pops up over here. So as you could see over here, the Bastion host is in the pending pool. So it's soon gonna turn running. Yeah, it's running now. So you could see over here it has public IP address attached to it, whereas the instances which are launched in private subnet, they do not have any public IP address. So now what we're going to do is we will try to assess it into the um our private the instances that are present in the private subnet. So how we have got to do that is we are going to get into private instances in the private subnet via a host Bastion host that is in public subnet. So we are gonna what it's gonna do is so the inbound traffic from the outside world, it's gonna get inside of the private subnet via Bastion host. So we are gonna get into the Bastion host. So before we could do that, what we have to do is we have to place that our key pair system into the Bastion host. So how we are gonna do this is by using this scp command. Okay, so I'll pin this command into the description box down below. So don't worry about that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to instances. We're going to go to instances and we are going to go to Bastion host. And here we're going to copy our public IP address and we head to the terminal, right? So to the terminal. Okay, so this should be the path of your this key pair and and keep all the configurations same except that. And here we're gonna take off this IP address and we're gonna paste current IP address of our Bastion host, right? So when you just enter, it'll ask you for some permissions. Okay, so say it as yes. Okay, so now it says that the machine is permanently added to the list of known hosts. Okay, so as you could see over here, so AWS login.pem is successfully copied into the Bastion host. So SCP is nothing but secure copy, right? So we're gonna we'll now try to SSH into our Bastion host. So that is SSH. minus I. So now we have to give location of the this key pair file that is into our system where it is, right? So while we do that, so now we are going to do it as Ubuntu. Now Ubuntu at the rate what's its IP address for our current Bastion machine is here. When we press enter, sorry, I by mistake had those colons at the end. So now if I press enter, yeah, there you go. So we got into our Ubuntu machine from the root user from Windows, right? So now what we are going to we are trying to do is we are trying to get into our private instance. So we'll try to get into one of our private instance. So we'll see where our instance is. So our instance is in our so the Bastion host. Our current running Bastion host is in US East 1. So we're going to choose the instance which is present in uh, public subnet with the same availability zone as the Bastion host, right? So we're going to choose this one over here. So we are going to copy its private IP address. Okay. So when you come here and now when you try to ls it as to check, just you could see over here that the AWS login.pem file, which is our key pair, is successfully copied into this Ubuntu, our Bastion host. So now from here, we are going to get into the um, our instance that is present in the private subnet. So why this login file is PAM file is needed over here? Because if we do not paste it over, if the Bastion host doesn't has any um, the spam file, now we'll not be able to log in into our private instances. So it's necessary file that we must have. So now we'll try to SSH into the um, our private instances. So now we are gonna AWS login dot pem. Okay, and now we are gonna as we knew that our machine was EC2, EC2, EC2 user at the rate. This is private IP address. Okay, so now it's gonna ask permission. So say yes. Okay, so it's saying that the private key file is protected. Okay, so what we are gonna do is we have to say to the instance that it's me, the root user. Don't worry about it. Okay, so when we go to um, the same instance, the private subnet instance, we have to go in there and we have to click on connect, right? If once when we click on connect, we have to run this um, command. So that is change mod 400 AWS login.pem. We have to run that command so that it recognizes our machine. And now when we try to SSH into this machine, you could see we'll easily be able to get through into it. Yeah, just as you could see, we easily got into our private machine. So how exactly we did that was, uh, we got into this private private subnet instance via the Bastion host that is present in the public subnet. Okay, so now all the inbound traffic is gonna go via the Bastion host to the private instance present inside the private subnet. Okay, so now we could do and we could launch any um web application of our choice, but just for the purpose of example, what we are going to do is we are going to paste a HTML code inside of it and try to run that. Okay,